DJ General Mills.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not too upset about Verzuz being canceled on Saturday because I was booked, so I wasn't gonna be able to see it anyway. So I'm not too upset. I wasn't upset at all. Honestly, I'm like, well, look, they can postpone it till Monday or Tuesday of next week. So I was cool with that. Unfortunately, they're not postponing it till Monday or Tuesday. They're postponing it for a full month because, unfortunately, Ashanti caught the COVID. And to be fair here, we don't know how she caught the COVID, but it is interesting that she caught COVID right before her Verzuz thing, and she just was also traveling the world. Like last week, she was in like Kenya or something in Africa. So, I don't think she caught it over there. She probably caught it in transit. There's no straight flights from America to Africa. You gotta, take, a couple of places. So she probably caught it going from the, airport or something like that. So it is very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. And I felt bad for Keyshia Cole. Keyshia Cole was like excited. Like she had her makeup on. So what ended up happening was they did an Instagram live and she was just basically apologizing, saying, I'm sorry I caught it and all this other stuff. But Keyshia Cole was dolled up. You could tell she was ready to go. A lot of people were very upset that they didn't decide to just do it over Instagram, which is where it originally came from. And I'm not gonna lie, that makes a lot of sense. I do not understand why they did not do it over Instagram as well. I'm assuming their deal with Apple states that Apple has to have a feed as well. And they probably did not know how to create a feed for both Apple and Instagram without them being at the same location. It probably was going to be way too much for them to have a feed from Keyshia's residency and Ashanti's residency. It probably was gonna make it probably would have been way too hectic. Plus, they couldn't have brought anybody inside. They probably couldn't have brought anybody inside of Ashanti's house just for safety reasons. So they probably could have did it on Keyshia's side, but it just would have sounded bad. So I do think postponing it for the week or for the long term works. I just think that now that this has happened and this is the first time, this may not be the only time. I think now Verzuz has to put in a plan for when something like this happens. Because if this happens, we're ramping up cases and people are not being as safe. So if this happens, because this very much could happen, if this does happen again and again and again, they're going to lose that audience. And they're going to lose that engagement, which has given them such a great platform. And I mean, me as somebody who loves this, I love this. I love Verzuz. And this is the statement Ashanti put out. Hey, y'all, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I tested positive for COVID-19. I'm okay, not in any pain. I'm actually down to do the Verzuz from my house. We're trying to figure it all out. I just think that there has to be a reason why, because that's where Verzuz started from. It started from, hey, let's just do it at the house. And for them not to do it from the house makes me believe that there is something in the contract with Apple where they have to get a feed. They have to receive a feed somehow, some way. We're giving you this money so people can watch it on our platform. We have to get a feed. And on top of that, the feed that they get probably has to be the creme de la creme, the piece de resistance. Like, it has to be up there. They just can't do it over Wi-Fi. It has to be something that looks good because they have investors, and Instagram's whole thing, that was one thing, but they have investors, so they got to figure this out. So it's unfortunate. Once again, we do wish that Ashanti gets well because we don't ever want to see anything like this. I am also hoping that Verzuz once again figures this out. They have to figure this out, especially if we're going back into quarantine again, potentially come January, February, March. We just don't know what things are going to do. We don't know if people are going to be able to travel and get to the same location. We don't know if people are going to get COVID the day before or the day of. So I think it's great that they are doing constant testing, making sure nobody's unhealthy. But you got to do these things, differently, properly. And, it's a learning curve. We're still learning. Everybody's learning. So as much as people were upset, I wasn't upset because they're learning. It's a learning curve. So that's number one. I do want to wish a speedy health and no issues whatsoever to Ashanti. I want to make sure that she comes out of this fully, unscathed, completely healthy. So when she is able to return, she's able to return safely, with it being the holidays, I would hate for something like this to happen and she's not able to be with her family. Now, because of this, I'm assuming they had this next one in the can, and this was probably going to start off the top of the year. But because they're switching him, I am assuming that they switched this one. This one was, I can only assume that this was supposed to start off the top of the year, but it didn't. And what I'm talking about is that now, this Saturday, we are getting a Too Short and E-40 versus, and it's the last versus of 2020. The only reason I'm thinking that they rescheduled this one is I don't think that they had Ashanti, Keyshia Cole, and then the next week, Too Short, E-40. Those are two heavy, powerful hitters. I'm assuming that they had Too Short, E-40 to start off January. And when this happened, they said, okay, well, we'll give them this next week so that they can't be too upset. And I like this. I like this one. I like this one a lot. I really do. I really, 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 really love this one a lot. Here's the thing. I did not grow up a huge fan of either artist until I got to like middle school and high school. So this is a strictly Bay Area battle, and I respect it. Bombs for the Yay area. Bombs for the Yay area. I completely respect this battle. If you are not a fan of either artist or you don't understand the significance of it, this ain't for you. Step back. Same thing for when it was Gucci and Jeezy. Same thing for, when it was Fab and Jadakiss. This one may not be for you. This is not a, the super big, super huge. This is a local Yay area. This is about the culture show, and I fully love this. I love this full thing so much. Now, normally we would do like a song breakdown. Who would win, this, that, and the third. I'll be completely honest with you. I am not heavily versed in either one of their catalog before the 2000s because they were both underground rappers. Everybody knows E-40 was a huge underground rapper, as well as Too Short in the early 90s up until the 2000s. It wasn't until the 2000s they both had their break. The first E-40 record I can think of was probably Tell Me When to Go, and then I go back to his previous stuff. First one I could think about with Too Short might have been the Lil Jon era with Shake That Monkey and Blow the Whistle, and then I'm able to go back. So I'm not too versed on this, so I'm really coming from this from a fan standpoint, huge fan standpoint. I'm really excited to see what they're going to play for this versus. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not gonna make a prediction. And my prediction is E-40. I think E-40 is a wonderful artist. I think that he is a mastermind when it comes to slang. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little biased because, well, E-40 and me went to the same college. So, if we go to the same college, I'm going to choose you. So shout out to E-40. But we went to the same school, so I'm choosing E-40. Big bombs for E-40, man. Big bombs. But I don't think this is gonna be a landslide at all. I think that I am going to sit there and watch what the Bay Area people do fully to judge what I'm going to do. Whatever the Bay Area people say wins. I'm not even gonna sit up here and be like, yeah, I know E-40 should have won this round. No. I'm not that versed in this one. I would love to be like, yeah, like I know exactly what these is. I may not know all these records. All these records may not necessarily be for me. So kudos to both of them, and kudos to Verzuz for being able to switch these around and say, you know what, we couldn't give you this one, we're gonna give you this one. And you know, moving on your feet. I love it. And so that's it, man. You know, good luck to both of them, but I got E-40 for the win.
DJ General Mills.